I hope we're live. Are we live? Okay. Well, welcome to Political Flashback. I hope we're live. I don't see a countdown. Anyway, welcome to Political Flashback. My name is Amania, and I hope you're hearing me just fine. Jeff, thank you for pulling me in through the stream. Couldn't be in the studio today, but we're going to do this. We're going to do a great show. So much has happened over the last week, and I can't even imagine. Like, there's been so much that happened these last couple of weeks, this last past 7 days, that I'm still stunned about it. Our president, Donald J. Trump, as we all know, was inaugurated this Monday, January 20th, which so happens to also be Martin Luther King Day as well. We got a 2-in-1, if you will. Some people didn't like that too much. Well, I actually thought it was fine. I thought it was a great day to have it. Why not have Inauguration Day on Martin Luther King Day? Martin Luther King was for, freedom, right? So is Trump. Martin Luther King was for a lot of things. And bottom line, President Trump is for we the people. So I think it was fitting for it to be on that day. A lot of people don't agree. If you don't agree, you can call in the show and we can chat about it. But I thought it was a great thing. And I want to start the show by thanking everyone, thanking you guys. Voy, who's not able to be with us today. Dr. White will be in the studio a little bit later on, and we may have a couple of call-ins, maybe Roberto, maybe Johnny, I'm not sure, but I know Issa White will be in the studio. He will be there. So, and I want to say thank you to the station for hosting us and letting us have this opportunity. And friends, want you to know that, again, we do need your help and we help each other. So we do ask for advertisers, and, you can contact the radio because it really takes a lot to make the show happen. And so, advertising your business to the audience is a great way. Advertising what you do. I mean, whatever it is that you're doing, we can put your commercial in, talk about your business, and promote you out here on the radio, especially if you're here in Central Florida. You're able to do it because this is your community. So we welcome your advertisement. We welcome you coming on and presenting your business to our audience. And we are also here on Facebook. And I also stream it through my channel, The Conservative Poet. And you can catch me there as well when I'm not here on the show. I also have my own show on The Conservative Poet. And that's a great one where I let loose and we talk about all of the trending topics. So you can always catch me there during the week when I'm not here on this show with the guys. So again, welcome to Political Flashback. And I want us to start with a piece of the inauguration. We talked a little bit just now about Dr. Martin Luther King, but I want to talk today about a pastor out in Detroit, Lorenzo Sorwell, who was a part of the festivities with the Trump inauguration. And he gave this amazing prayer. And I want to play it because I want you to just, if you didn't get a chance to watch it or see it, I want you to just hear this pastor as he prays to bring in, the freedoms of this country, liberty, the things that we cherish most. And he prayed for these things for our president. He prayed for these things for we the people. And I thought it was a powerful, powerful prayer. And so I would like to play it now for us once again, so we can have the feeling, because we're starting in a new administration. It's a new day, a new boss is in town. And I want to start us off in the right place. And his prayer really touches on that, because at the end of the day, we are Americans. At the end of the day, this is who we are. We are all Americans. And so we need to understand what that means. That means coming together as one. That means we put the country first. We the Americans first above everything else, right? aside from our God. Our God goes first. But then where we live, where we sleep, our community, our country, that's second. Because if we don't have these things, it's no good. And so he really lays it out, the foundation of really being an American and, embracing these things. It's a new day. Whatever issues you have with Donald Trump, whatever issues you have, with his policies, listen, he is looking to do what's best for America. And we're going to talk a little bit later about some of the things that's already taking place. But first, I want us to start with this prayer that blessed we the people, that blessed our new president, that blessed his administration moving forward, and blessed we as a whole. So we're going to play Pastor Lorenzo Sorrell as he gave his prayer over President Trump at the inauguration. Okay. Okay, well, it's not playing. Jeff, all right, it's not playing. Okay, I guess it's not. I don't know why it's not playing. Okay, well, I guess that's not going to happen. So, any event, he prayed a powerful prayer, and he touched on just about every aspect of where we are as a country. And why I really wanted to play this is because he sort of brought in those vibes of Dr. Martin Luther King. He sort of just went deep into those spiritual places. And, it was just amazing to watch and to see this prayer. And I really, really want to share it. But for whatever reason, it's not working for me. Okay. Well, I guess that's that then. Hopefully the other clips I have planned will play, because that's going to be a fail if they don't. All right, so let's move on to President Trump's speech and how that resonated. Now, he was on for about 30 minutes, and it was a beautiful ceremony. I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything else. So I have to say that I was planned to be in DC for the inauguration, and I ended up not going. Now, I have experienced the inaugurations before. I have to confess that I did it twice, and I did it for both Barack Hussein Obama's inaugurations all those years ago. And I have to tell you, my first time there, it was actually my first time in DC, and I never even, at the time I was in real estate, and I was working with a lot of investors, and I was working with investors who were buying up board ups. So I was constantly in board up properties and so on. So I knew them inside and out. I could spot them a mile away because that was my business. And I remember when I went into DC for the first time, and I'm driving through the Capitol, and I was with people and friends, and I'm looking up and I'm seeing board ups. I was like, what is this? We in the capital of this country. Why is there board ups? Why are buildings boarded up? Like, what is this? Are we not in the capital of the free world? Like, why is there board ups? And I could never understand that. Like, it made no sense to me that on my way to the White House, I was looking at board up properties. I was looking at abandoned buildings. I was looking at these things, and I was like, wait a minute. What is, why are there board ups when we're in the capital of the free world. Like, this is crazy. And so that was my first experience with Washington, D.C. Now, though, after going many times since that time back in for Obama's first inauguration, I realize now why there's board ups. I realize now that even though we have the White House and this place here, the Capitol and the Capitol buildings, around it on the outskirts is the fail. Right? There's homeless everywhere. There's trash everywhere. I mean, and part of when I was there and the second time I went back, and I would think to myself, I wonder if they take a different route, when people like Xi Jinping comes for a visit, when people like Vladimir Putin come for a visit, when these big world leaders come for a visit. Is there a different route that they take so that they don't see the garbage in the trash of where that leads to our capital? That's embarrassing. And even President Trump has said it himself. Like, when he sees these things, it is literally a failure that we, the free country, we, the free world, can actually have like homeless just hanging around our capital area. We could have homeless and trash and garbage all around these places. But again, friends, it is the failings of the leaders of this country and what they have let this country become. And the reason they do that is because, again, there is no law and order. We have laws on the books that they do not, follow. We have laws on the books that they ignore. And they're looking to make up new laws. Well, we have laws on the books. What is the point of making new laws when you won't follow the laws you have on the books? That means you're going to put on more laws that nobody is going to follow. And if we, at the top, the president of the United States of America, say they're going to do these laws and then they don't follow through, then what does that say about us and our leaders? Can we trust our leaders to implement what it is that they say? Can we trust them to do that? Well, we went through 4 years under President Joe Biden. I'm just saying it. We went under 4 years of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, where there was lawlessness, right? We had a wide open border. We have laws on the books that says if somebody walks into the country illegally, then you have broken the law of the land. There's laws on the books that already say that. It says you are a criminal. If you walk into this country illegally, you are a criminal. But we had a president, Joe Biden, who said, we're not going to build walls. We're going to build bridges for you all to come on down. And so that's what we had. The law and order chief, the supposed to be law and order chief, did not implement the laws on the books, but decided to break the laws of this country. And so from there, we had millions of people walk into this country illegally. And then to add insult to the injury, right? They took your tax dollars, my tax dollars, we the people's tax dollars, and they put people up in hotels. They gave them food stamp cards. They gave them whatever they needed to survive, right? You're not able to self-sufficient. You're not able to do for yourself, but the government will cover you. They will give you hotel rooms, give you food, give you money in your pocket, give you a cell phone. They will give you everything you need to self-sustain, and you ain't got to do nothing but show up. No, I'm not talking about you Americans. I'm not talking about you, American citizens. No, you don't get those kinds of privileges. Those privileges goes to the illegals. Well, friends, I don't know if that bothered you any, but it did sure bother me a lot because I don't make a lot. And to think the little bit that I make, it's not actually helping we the people here who needs it, my community, my neighborhood. Nope. It's helping people who decided to come here because the chief in command said it's okay for you all to come. And so millions of people came. And I don't blame the people because I know they are looking for a better way of life. They're looking for a better experience in this world. I get it. I'm an immigrant. My family's in it. I was not born here. I get it. We're looking for a better way of life. But friends, Joe Biden did the ultimate disgrace of telling these people to pack up and come here. Don't you worry. We're going to take care of you. And they traveled hard roads. They walked. They slept in the ditches. They slept in the wilderness with rattlesnakes probably sniffing around them. They slept out there. Right? They did. All so they can get here to America. Why? Because Joe Biden said, y'all don't come down here because I'm going to take care of you. And he did. And he did. And we talked about it and we talked about it and we talked about it. And it went, I don't know if it even went in Joe Biden's ear because I doubt he can hear anything. I'm just saying. But it went in and it went out. And we, the people, are standing here. We are suffering. We've got all kinds of problems. We can't buy eggs. We can't buy bacon. We can't buy nothing. We can't do anything with Joe Biden. But man, when I tell you there's a new sheriff in town, Dr. Issa White, we got a new sheriff in town, baby.
Absolutely, and I'm his deputy.
Sheriff in town.
I mean, who shot the sheriff? Nobody shot the sheriff. You know, before we go on, Sister Aurora, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for your prayers. The 408 was crazy.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
Crazy. It took me like 20 minutes just to go 2 miles. But as we say in Islam, alhamdulillah, that I'm here. But before we go on, we have a person on the line.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, no, that's okay. They hung up. I don't know. Maybe they'll call back. But
all right.
But I want to thank you for the prayers. I hear that he was trying to get the good reverend on, but it didn't come in.
I couldn't get it to play.
You know, what's so interesting is that so many people, the man gave a tremendous benediction.
Yes.
Along with a Catholic priest and a Jewish rabbi.
Mm-hmm.
But my brother, he showed up and he showed out.
He did. He did amazing.
And so many people started criticizing him because of his rendition and his similarities of using Martin Luther King's speech the night before King was assassinated in Memphis. Mm-hmm. But you know, let me tell you something. A lot of people use King's speech and nobody criticizes it. But when it's in reference to an African American and a Black who is supporting Donald Trump, is a big issue.
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't know if you realize that Ana Navarro, she's taking heat. She's throwing heat at Snoop Dogg and Neely, who was at the inauguration, and then before that they were throwing heat at a Black band that was going to play there. Mm-hmm. You know, our marching band, which is part of the heritage of the African American community. But it appears that if you do not walk hand in hand, arm in arm, locked together with a political perspective that is liberal, then you somehow ostracized. But let me tell you something. Those days are over. I mean, it's a cultural, political, social revolution that is taking place. And a number of people may not want it, but you know what? as Bob Dylan stated in his song, a change. No, that's not Bob. That's Sam Cooke. A change is going to come. Right?
The change is here, my brother.
Absolutely. But one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about briefly, if you don't mind, my sister warrior, and I just love that sister warrior because
I know you do. I love it.
Yeah, because people don't know, but they will know soon that you don't take no prisoners.
Oh God, no.
Because truth is everlasting.
Mm-hmm.
You can't negotiate on truth, so we don't take no prisoners.
Nope.
We knock your brains out with truth.
That's where we live. We live on the mountain of truth. That is what you're going to find here. Transparency. We give our thoughts and our opinions in truth so we can deliver the light.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah. One of the things that kind of bothered me, and I was going to go to the inauguration, but many of the listeners don't know, and not only am I a professor and a scholar and an author, but I am also an imam, which is a cleric of Islam. And what we had was a young man was in a terrible accident in Chicago. One of the young men that I brought to Islam, and he was in a coma, and he died. And so, as his cleric, I flew there, and in our deen, our religion, we have to bury someone within 3 days. That's part of what we do. So. And not only that, as a cleric, I have to go and I have to wash the body and prepare it for his transition into the hereafter. So that's why I did not go. But, God is the best knower of all things. But nonetheless, one of the things I wanted to talk about briefly, that's still part of the so-called Biden legacy, if you want to call it that. And he doesn't have a good legacy. He has a story, but there's preemptive pardons, and I kept on looking at this. One of my areas is constitutional and legal history. And I was going through the Constitution, Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1, that gives broad powers of the pardons.
Mm-hmm.
See, and that's something that that Biden took advantage of in a tremendous manner. We hadn't seen anything like this.
We've never seen anything like this.
The closest element was when Gerald Ford, the president, Gerald Ford, pardoned Richard Nixon because when he resigned in reference to the Watergate scandal. But that was one person. But now he's pardoning, you see, all of his family and his people. You see, his administration, falsely, and when you do that, there is a perspective within the constitutional concept that you're pardoning because that person was guilty. You see, so that was a terrible, terrible, terrible thing to do. But let's go on.
I'll take that right there. Okay. So with Biden, doing these pardons, it really, when you look at it, if somebody's not guilty of something, why would you pre-pardon somebody if there's no traces of guilt, if they haven't done anything wrong, like your whole entire family? Like, this is something that we have never seen in this country. Like you said, they pardoned Nixon. That was a special thing. Nixon was president. Like, that was special. But your whole entire family, your son, and then you went as far as pardoning like all of these people, criminals, people on death row, all of these people who has murdered people, like all of these criminals.
Yeah.
And so what it tells me is that you have no belief in these institutions that is America. You don't believe in the justice system. You don't believe in due process. You don't believe in, innocent before guilt. You don't believe in any of these things that really build the foundation of this country, especially in these things. Look at what he did during his administration to Donald J. Trump.
Yes.
You don't believe in these institutions.
You're absolutely right. You said due process. They don't believe in that. They have destroyed that. And they woke the ideology within every major institution in this country that the so-called liberal establishment has controlled. Due process is something of the past. And that's a shame because we live in a country of law and order whereby you have a right to respond to your accuser and so forth. But they have done something. But one of the things I want to really talk about today, and I think we should, that I know is on the lips of all of our listeners, on the ears, and that issue are the executive orders that President Trump has signed.
Oh God, yeah.
2 days. I mean, that guy is a workaholic. I mean, he is like that electric bunny that don't stop. I mean, he has signed over 100 executive orders. But I know that our audience is have a certain persuasion, and I want to hit it straight on. I want to hit some of these executive orders straight on. One of the ones that I saw that was interesting, that has everyone all up in a tizzy, is executive order that he overturned, that is 11246. That executive order is of 1965, when Lyndon Baines Johnson, all right, he had an executive order banning discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, and national origin. So people are asking, why did Mr. Trump ban this? Is he a racist or what? No, he is not a racist. No, not at all. The executive order, keep in mind, is a temporary process. All right? It is typically designed to be in effect during a president's administration. If you find that it's necessary, then it's good. Then Congress takes that and it becomes a law. The concept of Lyndon Baines Johnson was that this was going to be a remedy, all right, but it should not be on the books perpetually, not forever. Now, if people wanted it on the books forever, they could have Congress. They had several Congresses since 1965 that could have turned this into a law. But the idea of Lyndon Baines Johnson, as with many of the legislatures and presidents that followed him, was that we would be able to achieve at some stage a society where, like Martin Luther King stated, a person is judged by their character, by their works.
Yep.
All right? Not by any special concept, not by any special deed. So the question is, why did he do this? Well, let's look at it again. Now, one of the issues that we have in the United States in the past 20, 30 years, we had an influx of illegal aliens and other people coming to the country. When I looked at the record now of the last 20 to 30 years dealing with executive order that was initiated in 1965 by Lyndon Baines Johnson, the majority of the people who have been benefiting from these executive orders that bans discrimination, that allows a person to get a job in the federal government and in private enterprise without being hampered by religion, creed, or ethnicity, has not been people of African descent. It has been other people, you see, other people who have been benefited by this element. Now remember, President Trump, he stated straight out in 2016 that this group, the people of African descent in the United States, has not been benefiting from many of the laws and procedures that were established for them. And
Mm,
they had, and the Democratic Party knew this.
yeah.
But instead of reading the record of what's taking place, you see, they give you a perspective that, oh, uh, you will benefit from it. It's helping you, but it's not helping you. It's helping other people on your backs. So therefore, Trump said there has to be another way, because this element of people taking advantage. That's what he said. Taking advantage of the African American community and the
Yeah.
advantage of the Black community in the United States has to stop.
Yeah. You know, I'll never forget the line that President Trump said to get the attention of the Black folks. He said, Black folks, well, he didn't say Black folks. I'm just saying people. He didn't say Black folks, but he said, what the hell do you have to lose?
Absolutely. What do you have to lose? Now look at it. Now, the oldest minority group outside Native American people, the original people, right? The group that has received less benefits, but put more blood and
Mm-hmm.
blood and tears into changing the fabric of this country are the ones who are not benefiting. That's the people of African descent. All right. If you're talking about wealth, they're at the bottom. If you're talking about education, they're at the bottom. If you're talking about housing, they're at the bottom. The only areas that is filling up for this group of people are the jails. You
You
see?
know, you're right. So I have a question, Dr. White.
Yes.
So with this, what we're talking about, when we look at the African American, right? And we
Right.
look at the other, as they like to put us all in the bucket, blacks and browns or people of color, however, but we're going to separate these two right now.
Got
And
to.
so when we look at the browns who's coming to this country, they are building wealth. They are building all kinds of wealth for their communities. They've got their sectors where they are pulling themselves out of these pit holes and they are coming together. Now, my question is it that Black folks just can't seem to be on the same platform and work together to build something for their community and for their legacy? Like, why is it that Black folks just can't seem to work together to do these things? Is
Well,
my question.
I think there's evidence that Africans have worked together. However, in the last 20, 30 years or so, maybe 40, the African American community have bought into a political ideology.
Ah,
All right. Not a social ideology. A social ideology, an economic ideology is pulling oneself together to help each other build their community economically, support each other, buy from each other, lift each other up. But instead of following those concepts, right,
mhm.
the African American community has followed a democratic political ideology that says you must do it our way. If you vote for our candidates, if you vote for our programs, then things will get better for you. Well, we know that's a lie. And secondly, no minority group in the United States, except for the African American in the last 40 years, have followed a political ideology of upliftment. Not the Asians. If you go to little Saigon on Colonial, they don't follow no political ideology, but they control that little area.
Mhm.
If you
They
go to
have.
Heflo, where you have Germans, they don't follow no political ideology. They follow ideology of social development. You go to Little Italy. You go to all these areas that we have in Central Florida and throughout Florida. The only ones that follow a political ideology are the people of African descent who've been bamboozled, led astray, you know,
Run
hook,
amok.
yes, hookwing.
Oh, wing.
So what's taking place now is that President Trump is really calling the call. He's saying, listen, you can do it a different way. because this country is not just my country, it's our country.
Yes.
And everyone in this country, especially the ones who laid the foundation agriculturally
Hmm.
and industrially on the shoulders of the former slave, they have a right to build and be part of this society. The
Yes.
days of polarization are over. That's what they're saying.
Yes. And
And
you know what I find interesting, Dr. White? I find interesting that some of the black folks, and I'm talking about some blacks that I know, or some in the media, some of these so-called black leaders, but a lot of them know these truths. They know that these policies is detrimental to the blacks. They know that it is not good for the community. They know that these policies is not good for your kids, not good for your community, not good for your health, right? Not good for anything at all when it comes to you as a society, as a community. But yet, they stand out here and they are 10 toes in to tell you should vote for X, Y, and Z, even though they know it's no good for you. But guess what? They're going to get a bag out of the deal.
yeah,
They're going to get their money out of the deal to tell you to vote against your own best interest. And you listen to them. Why? Oh, that's Uncle Roland. He knows well. He knows better. Oh, that's Auntie Maxine. She should know better. And you don't even put your own thoughts in. And you go into the slaughterhouse following these Negroes that don't care about you or your family.
well, Roland, he's from Chicago, but he's not wanted on the South Side anymore. we took his pass.
Yeah, watch him roll on.
But let's go another executive order in reference to citizenship birthright.
Yes.
All right, this is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
People have been calling me about this one too, saying, "Oh, it's a shame that they're going against the Constitution." But let me tell you, for all of you who think they know what it is, that whole argument comes out in the 14th Amendment that leads into the 15th Amendment. Now remember, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments of the United States are considered the Civil War amendments. One, to get that said slavery is ended, 13th. All right. 14th, all rights before the Constitution are guaranteed. 15th, citizenship. All of this is important. Now, why is this important? Because when the 14th Amendment came, it stated that the former slave and his children will be free in this country. Why is that important? Because when they were slaves, if they were born, if you were born to a slave, you were a slave. That was changed. The authors of of that amendment did never imply immigrants or illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
It was based on
slavery.
Former slaves to be part of this experiment that we call the United States of America.
Yep.
Now, the first time that this came up in reference to, the birthright was a case in 1898 called the Rain case, an Asian American, Chinese American, in fact, saying that his children should be should be considered citizens because they were born here. That stood there. But still, the majority of the issue was that if you were it was based on the slave issue. Now, why did this become a big deal? And why is this a big deal now? First of all, do you realize that the majority of the countries in the world do not believe in birthright citizenship? All right? If you go to Europe, any country in Europe, and if one of your relatives are not a citizen of one of their countries, and your baby is born there, guess what? Your baby is not a citizen of that country.
Right.
how about Africa? The same thing too. The same thing is in Asia. The only countries are like that are the countries in the Americas, North, Central, and South America. Now the question is why? Because during the colonial period, all right, the colonial period of this hemisphere was around 17th century, 16th, 17th, 18th century. When Europeans were migrating here, they said, okay, you migrate here, you can be a citizen. All right, you can have a birth, because they were trying to fill up the roles. But it's a different period now.
Yeah.
It's not a period of colonization.
No.
It's not a period of any of this. So therefore, what happens is that when you allow illegals to come in like that and they can have children, guess who it hurts? It hurts the people of African descent in jobs, in housing, all right, in benefits, everything.
Well, so you know a little bit more about this than I would. So I'm just kind of wondering right now, being that we're discussing the 14th Amendment and how it was birthed and why it was birthed. It was birthed because of former slaves and their children,
right?
Not because of illegals or migration or immigrants. So what do we do now? Do we amend this amendment? Do we put in a new amendment? Do we go in and change the language? Do we fix that issue now, being that slavery, this has long gone past and now this is taking on this new meaning? Is that something you think, President Trump and the Congress can take up to, ratify the 14th Amendment?
That's exactly. Trump is a strategist, and he's a smart dude. So he knows that he brings up this question, and somebody will take it to the Supreme Court eventually.
Uh-huh.
And it will have to be amended. Why does it have to be an amendment? One, the majority of the American people do not believe nor want birthright citizenship. They see it as being a cancer on society. That doesn't mean the children who are born in this union are cancers. It means that it's a drain on the resources that we cannot afford any longer. It can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not wanted. It's not needed. You see? So it's going to have to be, it's going to be brought up, and it's going to be amended. It's going to be changed.
I have another thought. Now, parts of what I believe and understand how all of this work is like, once that parent, a lot of them, they're pregnant out there on the trip up, so that they can have the kid here in the on U.S. soil. So once that happens, the kid is born here on U.S. soil. Now their claim to fame with this is that I have an American citizen child. Therefore, I have rights to be in this country because of this child. Is that also something that can be, amended into all of this to say, hey, look, we get it. You came here, you had your baby, but that doesn't automatically mean you're going to have American citizen rights. You're an illegal. You're not a citizen. Okay, your child was born here, but, that really gives you no rights at all.
That's right. And that has to be handled and confronted, because they are illegal. Now, people say, well, what do you mean illegal? I've been to over 100 countries. And every country that I've gone to, I either have to get a visa on arrival or I have to get a visa before I go there. Some countries I don't have to, but I still have to show that I still have to go through the customs.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what Trump is saying again, by bypassing the customs and the laws in this country, doesn't qualify you to be a beneficiary and a citizen of this country, regardless if your child is born or not. Because again, it falls back to the basic 1 and 2 issue there: finance. We cannot afford it. I mean, under the Biden administration, we had something like 20 million undocumented illegals. All right. Who's taking care of them? Where's the money coming from?
Your pocket and my pocket and their pocket.
And we don't have the money. All right. So that's something especially that our audience need to begin to understand.
Yeah.
And if you have any local politicians, Anna, all right,
Maxwell,
who believe in this open border policy and this element whereby deportation of illegals is wrong, you better check them.
Yeah.
Because they're really going against the interest of your community. And that's what it's about.
I'm glad you brought that up, Dr. White, because this is a good moment for us to shed light on some of these people that represent us and you right here in this community. People like Anna Eskamani, who we just mentioned. People like Maxwell Frost. What is he? Congressman Maxwell Frost, State Representative Anna Eskamani, State Representative LaBon Bracy Davis, State Representative, all of these people who believe that, yes, we should have open borders. We should be able to take care of these people who are here, who's come illegally. They believe they are taking your tax money. They believe that these people should be cared for from your tax money, but yet you're having all kinds of problems, and nobody is doing anything for you, the American citizen.
Absolutely. So he's doing some great things with these executive orders. Another one that I'm really a fan of, and he's stating that in the military, transgenders are not going to be there any longer, and that you're either a man or a woman.
Yep. You're either a man or a woman. I don't have to now worry about going into a bathroom and having a penis next to me as I'm trying to do my bathroom.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so, and some people saying, well, what is wrong with that? Well, check this out. You're in the military. And I think Jeff was in the military. Weren't you? Okay. Well, we have a lot of people who are in the military, and you have to be able to do certain exercises and pass certain tests. Well, we're getting ready to go on a break. We're going to follow this up when we come back. Keep in mind, listen in, call in, ask us, argue with us. We're your friends. Always join Political Flashback. We'll be right back.
This weekend on the Donnie McClurkin Show, we've got music lined up, ready and waiting to be played to glorify this great God and to bring this great message of love. It's called gospel music. This weekend on the Donnie McClurkin Show.
Orlando, it's time to spark Hope Ignited. On January 31st at 7 p.m., join Need to Read for an unforgettable evening at the stunning Walt Disney Theater in the Dr. Phillips Center. Be moved by Yolanda Adams, the Grammy-winning voice of inspiration, and laugh out loud with Mike Goodwin, the bow-tie comedian. Every ticket helps Need to Read put books into the hands of children. Get your tickets now at drphillipscenter.org, and don't forget to use the promo code HOPE10 for 10% off. Let's make a difference together. The Hope Ignited concert, Friday, January 31st, 7 p.m., benefiting Need to Read, featuring Yolanda Adams. Get your tickets at drphillipscenter.org. That's drphillipscenter.org.
Ever thought about doing a podcast but didn't know how to start? You didn't have the equipment or the capability? Well, the wait is over. Start your very own podcast today. Unity Podcast Room is now available for you. The state-of-the-art podcast room is located at 50 South Clark Road, right here in Ocoee, Florida. Get your video out there so people can see and hear you speak your truth. For only $100 an hour, you can start your podcast with Unity Podcast Room. Now, are you ready to take your social media to the next level? Stop being scared and start your podcast today. Unity Podcast Room.
You're listening to Inspiration 1680 AM, WOKB Winter Garden, W2640F 100.7 FM Kissimmee, and around the world at WOKBradio.com. Inspiration 1680 AM and 100.7 FM Kissimmee.
The views and opinions of the following program is not necessarily those of WOKB, staff, and management of Unity Broadcasting.
Good afternoon. This is Dr. V. Issa White, the truth teller, with Sister Warrior Amania. Listen, we're glad. Oh, that's my sister there. You know, when you hear her, you got to listen. That's a bad sister there. She is our local Angela Davis. Holy cow. I mean,
Thank you.
That sister don't play. Take no prisoners. I mean, what a brother Jeff, who's keeping us in line. You know, when I was driving, he is like my mother and my dad gonna beat me up. Make sure I get here on time. You know, we all have to have a keeper to keep us in line, all of us.
Yeah.
So thank God for brother Jeff. You know, and Voy, you know, we can't leave him out. He is the architect of this beautiful show. He laid the foundation for us. And we're sad that he's not here today, along with Johnny and Alberto. But nonetheless, we were talking about executive orders. You know, I forgot this one. This one. You know, what are two of the crimes of the century, of the 20th century, that no one has really found an answer for?
I don't know. There's been a lot.
Well, this is what Donald Trump did today with an executive order with the crimes of the century. He's opening up the files of JFK, the assassination, and Martin Luther King. Now, man, now that's some heavy stuff there.
Oh,
because
yeah.
all of us want to know that. All of us know that,
we know, but we don't know.
That's right. So, you know, we have speculations about who killed President John Fitzgerald Kennedy. And some people say, well, it was the mafia. Others say, well, it was Cuba. Others say, well, it was Russia. And still others say, quietly, it was the CIA and the government.
Yeah.
All right?
Ding, 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 ding.
So every time someone tries to open up the files, even though the man has been dead, for almost 60 years, they keep it closed. Even though all the people who were part of that, if it is a conspiracy, they're gone now.
Yeah.
All right. So Donald Trump says, later for this, we're going to open up the files.
We want to know.
We want to know.
Good. Right. Transparency. That's what you get out of Trump.
Absolutely. And I know, you see, the element of it, if some of you don't realize it, is that there is a bureaucracy that states that a certain element of governance will continue, regardless who's there, and they don't want the bureaucracy to be known to the American people.
Yeah, it's a secret to us.
Yeah, but Donald Trump, he's like that guy in the bar. I don't give a damn. All right?
Yeah.
I don't care. Give me that beer. No, he don't drink. I say, here, give me that Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
You know, open something up.
He's like that. When you have that image of Donald Trump, he's that bull in the china shop, right? He's just knocking things over. He's just breaking stuff everywhere. Guess what? All of that is for us to see, for our eyes to be open to what's exactly is going on, what's happening in our country, what's happening to our money, what's happening in the back scenes, what's happened in our history.
Yeah.
He wants it all in the open.
He's a disruptor. And just go back to John Kennedy. Remember when
Yeah.
he became the president, many people in the United States did not like him because he was a Catholic. He was an Irish Catholic.
That's right.
Keep that in mind. All
Yes.
right. And there were some people who were fundamentalist Baptists who believed that the Catholic Church was connected to the devil, even saying that the Pope wore 666 diamonds or beads on his little cap.
Uh-huh.
All right. So therefore they said, well, and then other one said that if John Kennedy becomes the president too long, he will give allegiance to the Vatican. But there's something else. John Kennedy really wanted, after the Vietnam War started, he was on the verge of ending it because he was influenced by Eisenhower's last lecture, his farewell address of the military complex. And they did not want John Kennedy to end that war. And keep in mind, the man who really had more control than Kennedy was J. Edgar Hoover of the FBI, who made it known that he didn't like him nor his brother, Robert Kennedy. Now let's go a little bit farther. All right. Who killed Martin Luther King? Donald Trump want to say, I want to know. And keep in mind that Donald Trump has read the files of the issue that he talked about it as the COINTELPRO files, counterintelligence program to assassinate Black leaders. You see? And go ahead.
Let me ask you, because you know how, Martin Luther King Jr. is like a god to us Black folks, right? Yeah. He's like a god.
That's right.
And so if Donald Trump were to give us the gift of knowing exactly what happened to our God, I wonder, would that sway the Black folks, the Black people, the Black community to say, you know what? All these presidents have never cared enough to give us the truth about who killed our king, right? Literally, who killed our king. I like that.
Right. Well,
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it would sway the underclass, the working class Black, the ones who want to know. Now, the other ones, like the Al Sharptons.
Oh, God.
See, and the gatekeepers, they would be mad because no one is going to listen to them any longer. They're not going to have no more $2 million a year jobs.
Yeah.
They're going to have no more influence.
Nope. Influence is gone.
It's gone. So I am glad. Now, since he has did this, guess what? He's going to have to do two more. Who are the other two? Robert Kennedy. All right, killed in 1968. You see? And we know that there was a conspiracy there. Then he's going to have to open up the files for Malcolm X.
Yeah.
All right. It doesn't stop.
Well, can they find out who killed Tupac? Can they find out who killed Tupac?
They're still trying to blame that on Biggie, aren't they?
Then can they find out who killed Biggie? Can you tell us who killed my boys?
Yeah.
Who killed them?
Because inquiring minds want to know.
Yes, I want to know.
I see. So there's some stuff that's taking place that is really revolutionary. Here's another one. I'm having fun with these executive orders.
Yes, I see that. They're all fun.
That remember, Biden secretly had this plan. Well, not had he was doing it, whereby he was flying in refugees into the United States.
Oh God, yeah.
Late at night refugees coming into small airports like Sanford. Oh
my God. Let me tell you a quick story about one of those, okay?
Okay.
And it was not that long ago. I think it was like around 2023. We got a call that a plane had just dropped off about 400 illegals, and they were actually at the extended stay right there in Altamont Springs, right there when you get off of the highway there. And so we packed up and we went out there. Oh God, the illegals were there. But they said, oh, they were farm workers. They had papers. They had every right to be there. But I tell you, they flew them in the middle of the night, and we got wind of it, and we showed up. We were out there all day. Like, we're not letting you get away with this. It was so funny.
I mean, you did the right thing. That's why we call you Sister Warrior. I mean, the middle of the night, and that's what they do. I mean, they're liars, right? They come in the middle of the night under the cloak of darkness.
Yep.
So what Donald Trump has just done today is that he has canceled all refugee travel to the United States. He stopped refugee processing. He stopped American citizens from sponsoring refugees, stopped all flights. And these flights were being paid by the American people, staying in hotels by the American people, their health care being taken care of by the American people. And Donald Trump has said, not today. As you stated when I first came on, a new sheriff is in town.
Yeah.
And people who are part of the underclass in Central Florida and throughout the country should be happy for this.
Yeah.
You should be happy for this.
Yeah. Law and order is taking place again. Again, all we're doing, as I was saying earlier, all we're doing is implementing the laws that we already have on the books. We have laws. Yeah. They're just not being implemented. They're not being followed. And all Donald Trump is doing, he is following the law on the books, and he's going to put some, clippings on where it needs to be tightened up a little bit. He's going to organize that and make that happen. That's all he's doing.
And you know what's so interesting? All these people, again, I'm going to pick on the local so-called politicians, so-called leaders, so-called mouthpieces. They're quiet. You see? They're quiet. They don't say anything. It's as if they all are hiding. You see? Because they know what's taking place is truth.
Yeah.
You don't hear a mumbling word from the mayors, both of them.
Oh,
you don't hear a mumbling word from the former Congress lady. You don't hear a mumbling word from Maxwell Frost. Hey, by the way, I made a mistake last time I was on. I said that he has accumulated something like $800,000 net worth. I made a mistake. It's more like 1.6 million.
Get out.
All right.
Man, it pays that much to just be a mouthpiece.
Well, they got him covered. And it's so interesting since we're talking about refugees and illegal aliens and this. Now, remember, he got voted in by the Black community.
All
right. Don't get it twisted. It was other people. It was the Black community. And one of his first initiatives was to try to pass a measure to get European artists into Central Florida so they can make money, have jobs.
What about the Black Negro artists?
He don't care nothing about that.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
Let's be honest.
Okay.
Have you ever heard him play any Black music? How about he's from Haiti? Any Haitian music? He's from Cuba. According to some of his relatives, according to him, how about any salsa, any mambo? Nothing. How about any hip hop? Nothing.
No.
All right. Because he's not part of these communities.
Wow.
At all. He is a faker.
Wow.
A fraud. A wannabe. And he has along with his colleagues, have no real initiatives for the growth of the underclass community in this area. Nothing.
I'm just so disgusted with this. And just, when we see him around town, I see him often. And I look and I'm just like, wow. These people voted this kid in. They voted him again. When we look at his policies, y'all vote out Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Don't vote for them. But you vote for this guy. They are doing the exact same thing. What Kamala Harris was going to be doing to this country, destroying it even more, that is what Maxwell Frost is doing to your community, your neighborhood.
That's right. Absolutely.
It's crazy. But you don't vote for Kamala, you vote for Trump, and then you vote for Frost. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's a terrible, terrible thing. Another thing, I mean, so he's just him and his allies and associates, they're really just hiding behind the skirts of older Black women and saying that, listen, I'm a cute little boy. Protect me, mommy.
Yeah.
All right.
And you know the Black Queen, she's going to come out here and save her baby.
Well, we have love for the Queen, but the Queen's better get back on the right throne. All right. But also what's taking place that Mr. Trump signed yesterday was that he called for an emergency on the border.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, take it home.
Yeah, he called that in, and actually it started the day of the inauguration.
Is that right?
Oh God, yeah. While we were still, in the bubble of the festivities, work was happening on the ground. The troops were already headed towards the border. And on the first day, I think about 400 illegals were literally rounded up. The first day. Okay. And the second day, even more. Now, yesterday, as of this morning, I had some footages I wanted to share today, but that's not working. But Mexico has gone to work now. They are actually building shelters on their land, for the influx of people coming in, so they will have a place to put them. And then also, they're not just sending the Mexicans back into Mexico, but from those people from Venezuela and all of these places. And Mexico is saying, well, we're building these shelters for our people. We don't have room for you all. Like, you got to go back to Venezuela. You got to go back to Nicaragua. You got to go back to Haiti, because we don't have room here for other people.
Well, and some people are trying to say that Donald Trump is a bad man. He doesn't have no humanity. But what he's really doing, he said in another initiative, we will help you rebuild your infrastructure in your country.
Right.
So you can have good jobs for your people. So you can have housing for your people.
Right.
So your people will be proud to live in their own country.
Right.
And when they come to the United States, they come as visitors. They spend their money in Orlando and Atlanta and New York and LA. And after 2 weeks, they go back home. You see, that's what he's trying to do.
Yes. And I welcome that. And I'm always here with the argument saying, I want to see Haiti do better for itself. I want to see Haiti thrive. I want to see, when we're looking at this, a video was out today of a young Haitian man who has been Americanized. He was here illegally. He was in the truck. He said, I don't want to go back. You can't send me back. Yeah. And he was thanking Biden and he was thanking Obama for his time here. But again, these are the people. These are young military age men who have left the country. They've left the ship to sink on its own. Yes, I welcome Donald Trump helping them to build their country. If you can help them build, have jobs, have food, have infrastructure, have economy, have sales, have merchant, have things, then they would need to come here to America. Everybody would be thriving in their own little parts of the world, and we can trade nicely.
It's so interesting. The people who say that deportation is terrible and wrong haven't said a mumbling word about the Dominican Republic, who has already deported over 3 million Haitians.
Mm.
And the ones
Wow.
they don't deport, they're having them locked up in detention chambers in Santo Domingo and other parts of that country. Now, the Dominican Republic is supposed to be an ally, but you haven't said nothing about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Wow.
All right? That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so it's a contradiction with these people. And that's something that is wrong. Also, what's interesting about Donald Trump going along with these executive orders, check this out. He's withdrawing from the World Health Organization.
The who?
WHO. Who?
The who?
And people are asking why? Why again? He said, well, it's going to be a slow draw. We're going to close it down in 12 months. Why are you doing this?
Mm.
One, he said that the WHO, along with China, misled the world and
With the China virus.
That's right, COVID-19. Along with who? Dr.
Fauci.
All right. Is
The
he
criminal
wrong?
that was given a pardon by Joe Biden, the man who is probably the most evil of all human beings who ever lived, because they cooked up this thing and they killed all of us and they locked you up in your house. But guess what? Your president, Joe Biden, done did. He gave him a pardon that he can't even be touched for what he's done.
That's right. And also, as a reminder to the listeners, remember the two physicians, scientists who said they wanted to experiment, use experimental vaccines on the Africans? I don't know if you remember that. At the beginning, guess what? They were connected to the WHO.
Yep.
And the WHO was very well supported by Dr. Fauci.
Yeah.
And he also argued that more money should be going into the WHO. Now, the annual budget of the WHO is $7 billion a year. We pay half of it.
Wow.
So Donald Trump is saying this gotta stop. All right. It's not about he doesn't believe in health.
Yeah.
But we're not going to be suckers any longer. You see? And the COVID-19 just about destroyed America. I mean, our children still haven't recovered.
No.
Because of that, locking down America, our children are like 4 and 5 years behind now.
Yeah.
Basic skills.
And you know, that's another thing that this COVID-19 did. And I'm just going to tell, you know, just a story of my own with the COVID, you know, for my own son, as we're talking about the youth and what happened to them. You know, my son, when the COVID came, he was ending high school. He had a scholarship to a track and field scholarship to a wonderful university. And the COVID, you know, that was the lockdowns that shattered. He couldn't really get that done. And so when it was over, he was just lost in the world, not knowing what to do, because track and field was his career path, and the scholarship fell apart. And then, and what I'm saying is that the COVID did so much damage to our young people and their lives, you know, and to find out that this thing was some BS code that they cooked up in a lab and then put it out here to the American people and made us believe that it was the end of the world, and we had to lock ourselves away. We had to ruin our lives, and it was all political. And Fauci was at the top of it. And for him to get away with this is the worst.
Absolutely. You see, and we titled him as some hero. Maybe he's a hero for that particular group, but not to the American people, and not the people who suffered from this terrible thing all over the world. You know, we have to understand that Trump is a visionary and he's a disruptor.
Yeah.
And he's doing the things that all of us should be doing, asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And if you ask enough questions, you'll find the contradictions.
Yep.
And that's what's happening, you know. For example, he also signs an executive order designating cartels and other organizations as foreign terrorist organizations.
Yes.
Now, what's wrong with this?
Nothing's wrong with that.
In the 1990s, the CIA was connected to the Contra deal that brought in crack. All right. The point is that he sees these groups as being detrimental to the survival of the United States. So you label them as a terrorist group that gives you the leverage now to go after them, not wait for them, but go after them at the borders and even past the borders.
Well, that's already taking place. This morning, ICE was on the hunt in Boston. And they were able to connect with an illegal, member. And then they followed him, tracked him down, went and got him, and then found other illegals. Because guess what? Tom Hillman, the border czar, says, we're coming for these criminals. And if you're with them, even though you're an illegal, you're not a criminal, you haven't done anything wrong, but you hanging out with them, guess what, friend? You're going to get roped into. And that's what happened today as they went to work and they found some of these criminal people. They roped them up and some innocent illegals were taken in with them. And it's the company you keep, friend. It's the company you keep.
And it's about protecting the American homeland, the American interest.
Yeah.
And that's what he is. Some people don't like the fact that he's promoting the concept of American nationalism. And nationalism is not a bad thing. All right.
I actually like that word very much.
In fact, about it, all of us are nationalists. During the Olympics, what are we yelling? USA, USA.
It's a sin to do that. It's a sin to USA, USA. That's nationalism. You're proud of your country. What's wrong with that?
It's interesting. All right, we have a caller, and who's calling?
Dr. Issa White. Hello, how are you?
That's the architect. That's Voy.
Hello, Voy.
How you doing, my brother?
Busy. Thank you for holding. You guys are wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And I just once again thank the audience, Jeff, for holding it down, and WOKB 1680 for giving us the opportunity to be on the air every Thursday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. You guys are an absolutely amazing crew. Say hello to Roberto and Johnny. Dr. Issa White, you were born in this country. You went through a lot of history. And when you guys going through all that stuff today, Donald Trump releasing the JFK file and Martin Luther King file, I think every Black person living in this country should have praised that. And look at what happened, how this government been corrupt. And we had the first Black president and the first Black woman vice president did not intend even trying to have a debate releasing the MLK file. What that tell you?
There were conditions.
What did that tell you?
Conditioned Negroes.
And we had Eric Holder, who was the Attorney General.
Right.
Eric Holder was the Attorney General under Barack Hussein Obama. They did not bring that up. So, how many other leaders? I know Elijah Muhammad and Louis Farrakhan probably wasn't their list of assassination. I wonder if Trump is going to release those so people could expose the hypocrisy. Once again, this is the hypocrisy. You look at what Joe Biden did, give a preemptive pardon to his criminal empire family. When Donald Trump was debating that back during his term, Chuck E. Schumer said, The president can't do that. It was chaos. You listen to the hypocrisy today. That's what the Democrats don't have a leg to stand on. Mm-mm. What Joe Biden did, give a preemptive pardon to his family, to his son, that he was the head of the king of the criminal empire, so nothing could trace back. That should be illegal. And I'm glad some of the Congress person is going to look into this. You look at what Joe Biden did, pardon the J6 committee, who high-filed, who destroyed documents, Dr. Forsey, and I'm glad Senator Rand Paul out of Kentucky said, no matter what, they're going to take that all the way to the Supreme Court because they need to investigate Dr. Forsey. This should not be allowed. If that's the case, not just because Donald Trump is the president right now, for the first term of Donald Trump, if that was the case, when Donald Trump stayed on MSNBC, well, I didn't do nothing wrong. He could have pardoned Giuliani. Look at what they did to some of his cabinet members, some of the people that was in the campaign. So when people telling me, like my good colleague Roberto, that you should not be in a revenge, the man survived 2 assassination attempts and destroyed some of his people in the cabinet that was working in his campaign. And now Joe Biden and his criminal empire and the Democrat Party, preemptive pardon for Liz Cheney, and every member that was on the J6 committee.
Yeah.
And you're telling me they have problem with Trump releasing all 1,500 people that was protesting because they know the 2020 election was stolen? Things did not go right in Georgia and Pennsylvania, and that was the people was angry. And for the Democrats to keep lying that law enforcement police officer died, no, it was a mega woman that died, one person. And Joe Biden pardoned that Capitol police officer, and Democrats trying to verify to compare this to justify. Okay, look at what happened during the George Floyd protests. $8 billion in insurance damage, and they want to justify social justice. So Republican cannot go on a rampage about what happened in 2020. So it was all right. $8 billion damage, and 900 police officers were hurt during the George Floyd. For somebody who was a crackhead and trying to use a fake $20 bill.
Yep. And he was crackhead too. You said that.
And
brought it to the White House.
Supporting this?
Brought it to the White House, remember?
Okay. Nancy Pelosi was taking a seat, a knee, and the Democrat Party, when they had it, there was no criminal justice system reform under Joe Biden. Are these people serious? For the people that listen to this our show today, for the Democrat leader that's listening to us today, I don't understand this. They want to go after Trump now because of the J6 pardon. This is the hypocrisy.
Yeah. It's a hypocrisy. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And I mean, one of the things that Donald Trump has done in reference to executive order, he signed 14147, ending weaponization, of the federal government, because he has seen it. And I'll tell you right now, any person of African descent, be you from the Caribbean or Latin America or African American, we have seen the weaponization of the government against our own leaders. If they're Paul Robeson or Louis Farrakhan or Jesse Jackson, we have seen it. So you should stand up and say, I support this executive order. You may not like how Mr. Trump does things. You may say that he may be rough and rude and so forth, but forget about that. He's doing the right thing and trying to bring order and stability to a system that has lost its balance. We have to get right back on the road again. You may not like it. You may not like how he's saying it, but you know, sometimes manure is good. It makes you grow.
Yeah.
It makes you more powerful. So
absolutely, Dr. White. I mean, not just because Trump, now on the second term, Trump could go ahead and stop putting some Democrat in jail and do things. And then after his 4-year term, go ahead and pardon all his administration and everybody that was on his cabinet, so the Democrats could not come on after him again. Because imagine if Trump were to do that in his first term, with the Democrats today, the only thing that George Marison's giving them, Trump is a convicted felon. First president to be convicted. They love that. That's why George Marisson did what he did. President Trump have every right to investigate what happened, because it was why so many people today, as far as the numbers concerned, 500 State Department personnel of the DOJ is quit, walked out. Can anybody explain this to me? If everything they did right, why are they quitting? Why are they resigning?
Mm-hmm. Well, we know why.
The Department of Justice.
Yeah. I mean, they were complicit in this deal, in this corruption.
The Democrat who has support what the Democrat Party was doing. Explain to me why all these attorneys, career prosecutors is leaving the Department of Justice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'd have to say
why Liz Cheney and Adam Schiff, who's the senator right now, okay, who was very critical of Donald Trump, tried to pardon himself back on his first term. He didn't do it. He said, I didn't do anything. He didn't do it for his family. He didn't do it for his cabinet member.
Well, I don't
so if he would have done that, all that would have happened today? To love the Democrats saying he's a convicted felon.
Yeah.
We're losing this country. Don't you see what's happening? The Democrat opening a Pandora box.
I mean, this is something. I mean, they turned a misdemeanor into a felony, right?
Yeah.
When they're trying to assassinate this man,
absolutely.
The Democrat, they were chanting, they were praising, they were happy. This is what America. You look at some of these criminal aliens. It's like they're entitled to come here and commit a crime against the American people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Look at this audacity of this young Haitian man. Oh, thank you, Obama. Thank you, Biden.
Yeah. Yeah.
And others. Like they're entitled. I'm living in America. I'm allowed to commit crime. I'm allowed to stay in this country.
Well, we have entitled them, Voy. I mean, when you allow people in and you don't have no punishment for bad behavior, you're allowing it. And that's what they want. But again, as Sister Warrior stated earlier, it's a new day. The gig is up. The American people see the truth now. When the eyes are open, the eyes cannot be closed again.
No.
To truth.
It can't be. And if you do that, if you know the truth, and then you stick your head under the sand or you put your hand over you and you don't want to see it, you don't want to acknowledge it, that is on you. You know the truth and the convictions are within yourself to do something when you know what's right and when you know what's wrong. It's on you.
I mean, the president is putting now again value into what it means to be an American. Value to the citizenship is a privilege.
Yes.
All right. It's just not given to anyone at any time.
Like you mentioned, I just wanted to say this real quick, Dr. White. The young man, the Haitian, who was screaming out today, "Thank you to Obama, thank you to Biden," and I think he said he gave Trump the FU, right?
Right, he did.
This gentleman was arrested 17 times. How is it that you know that you're in this country illegally? I mean, if you did a crime one time, you got away with it, you put your head down and you try to do the right thing. And because you know you're here illegally. Why not do that? 16 more times of you going out here and breaking the law and breaking the rules. It's insanity. You know, that you're able to do that. No accountability. And then you want to, no.
Dr. White, I was listening to John Bolton and other John Brennan, the 51 intelligence who signed that letter that the Hunter Biden laptop was a Russian propaganda. The Hunter laptop, where he had videos of his dead brother, all kind of pictures, all kind of stuff, because Marjorie Taylor Greene exposed all that. This is the 51 intelligence today that Donald Trump revoked their clearances.
Yes.
Okay? John Bolton was Batman, the president. Now he said, well, I had disagreed. I was who take out his security clearance and his Secret Service detail. What do these people expect?
Well,
okay,
yeah, they expect
when they were promoting the assassination of the president that they work for. And there's a news just came out the wire today. Mike Pompeo. I know Mike Pompeo was a little bit critical of the president, but he was compared to the rest. Even Donald Trump take out his security detail and his clearance.
Pompeo too?
Mike Pompeo. Yes, that just came out the wire.
Wow.
We have to have some accountable in this country. They trashed this president. This man survived not just 2 assassination attempts. There were several assassination attempts. Because things that they were saying, the plot, the coup d'etat, and this should not be accountable. All these 51 intelligence agencies
See, that's the thing
who swear that Hunter Biden laptop was the Russian propaganda, and it was his laptop, and these people were dealing with our intelligence.
Yeah.
Enough is enough.
Enough
is enough. It's that these people have never had to be held accountable. I mean, years ago when someone addressed Donald Trump about some of the things that other countries are doing, he said, we do bad things too. You see? The point is that there has been bad behavior and they've been rewarded for their bad behavior towards the American people and towards the citizens of the world.
Yeah.
And Trump, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's exactly what Biden just did. He just awarded all of these people. He awarded Fauci for killing Americans, for cooking up this COVID. He awarded these January 6th committee for breaking the rules, for lying, for hiding evidence. They awarded George Soros the Medal of Honor for destroying our cities. You know, you're right. This is what they do.
I think Trump is not going to prosecute many of them, but this is where he's going to get them. They're going to lose their pension. They're going to be audited. and they're going to be forced to repay the American people financially. And that's what's going to kill them. You see,
Wow.
they're not going to be able to ride off into the sunset and live that beautiful little life in Bermuda.
Well, I got a feeling, weak men, a lot of them will be deleting themselves because they can't take the heat.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, so we're going to see all of this. Mike Pompeo, John Bolton, the whole crew. And it's about time.
Yeah.
Because again, I cannot forget this phrase. There's a new sheriff that's in town.
It's a new day.
It's a new day. I mean, there's some very, very interesting things. Let's have a little fun. We talked about him and nationalism. What is your take? How about this one? This is a little fun thing.
Mhm.
What is your take on renaming the Gulf of Mexico?
The Gulf of America, you mean?
Yes,
You mean the Gulf of America? I'm all in. I'm all in. I'm all in for it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's do it.
He is a brilliant strategist.
Uh-huh.
All right. In order to change things, you got to make people feel strong and good about their surroundings and self.
Yeah.
So
Gotta
he's
feel
feeding
good.
the strength. That's right.
Feel good about the country.
Absolutely.
Right?
He is saying that it's not our business to make everybody else feel good. It's our business to make ourselves feel good.
Make ourselves feel good. And that's our person. That's our city. That's our state. And just real quick, just to throw in our state in this feel good thing, our great governor, Ron DeSantis, did come out last week to talk about, he was ahead of this thing, that Florida is going to be the state leading. He is right there, locked foot with the Trump administration. Florida is going to be leading the country to be the example to show how a state really works with the presidency, with the national. So DeSantis he's got his army of sheriffs, the beloved Sheriff Brady, Grady Judd. He's got, he didn't have Sheriff Mina. Just saying, Mina wasn't a part of it. Just saying.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't. But he's got, he's ready to do some really great work here in Florida. And I am excited to see what he does, because he's like, we are locking horns with the president, and we're going to make the American dream what it is. We're going to make America great again. We're going to make Florida great again, pretty much. So our great governor.
I mean, that's what's happening. And also what's interesting, which is going to cause a lot of people some anguish. Did you realize that the president also has pulled down all the Spanish websites that deals with the White House? He's basically saying that if you live in this country, you have to learn the language.
Oh, didn't hear that.
He did that. You see,
I am a big component of that. I believe in that. This is the language of the land. If you come here, there's no need for us to have 3-5 different interpreters. You here, you need to learn to speak English. Absolutely. That is not a racist thing. That is not a xenophobic thing. We don't have to have interpreters at every turn. No. You're here in America. This is the language of the land. You speak English.
That's right. That's right. And he did something that a number of Americans believed in, but was afraid to say anything about. And that's what makes this man unique again. Very interesting. And so he's doing some interesting things. And the last thing that people are getting excited about is Greenland, right?
Yeah.
And
we're expanding our territory.
Expanding, but he also understands the value of Greenland. People don't know that Greenland, under all the ice, has one of the greatest and largest oil reserves in the world. And he understands that we need that. And he also maintains that it's better for us to be able to control that than Russia or China.
Yes.
So
Yes.
therefore, you're beginning to see a political ideological fight that's taking place throughout the world, but without war. That's the beautiful thing. And when I say without war, I mean he has basically told Netanyahu, you got to stop. He called Netanyahu the other day a SOB.
Mhm.
All right, and that he was just a bad dude, and he basically is pushing Ukraine to end the conflict with Russia.
You know, Dr. White, so the next day after the inauguration, it was the World Economic Conference.
Is that right?
Oh, God, yeah. And I was able to watch a bit of it. And our friend, Vladimir Zelensky, was there speaking. And I actually had the clip to play too because I thought it was great because I like talking about Zelensky in reference to the Ukraine war and how he comes for the past couple of years, come here, beg us for money. And he's done it like twice around Christmas. It's like, we need money. And if you don't do this, the government's going to shut down and Christmas is going to be bad. And so he comes for Christmas. But for this time, he was there saying, you know, Trump is not playing. Therefore, we, the European Union, we have to up our game. We have to start putting in the pot because it doesn't seem like Trump is going to, continue to bankroll us.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Go and watch it.
Yeah, we're getting there close to time, boy. We're getting there. We're getting close.
I know
Yeah.
close to time. Would you ever see this day that a president, the first executive order, I only recognize two genders, male and the female.
I mean, that's exceptional and that's great. You know, it's sad that we have to have an executive order to do that.
Just do that.
Yeah.
So now we have a bunch of confused people in this country, a lot of confused Democrats. They don't know if they're male or female. Okay? Now we're raising these kids to hate their gender, to hate that a man is born with a penis, a woman is born with a vagina, and you have these people now telling the wonderful life God gave these folks, the human being, that no, your organ is not good. We're going to castrate it for you, put another. You know, this is the kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
And if Kamala Harris was the president today, this was going to be double down.
Yep. It was going to be law.
And I remember when I shared this with you, when we had a conference on a college application, we had 18 different genders.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the kind of nonsense. And I've seen Snoop Dogg and Nelly is getting blowback, but Oprah Winfrey didn't get a blowback.
Yeah.
Oh.
I hear
$2 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We hear the music coming on. We hear the music coming on. I think we have to say a last word, right?
Okay.
All right, so say a last word,
thank you, Dr.
Brother
White,
Voy. I thank you, my
down.
brother and sister Warrior.
Well, I thank you, gentlemen. Yes, it's been great conversation. So much to get to. Just enjoy our time together. Thank you.
And lastly, please listen in next week again to WOKB 1680 on your dial. That's controlled, operated by Brother Jeff. And listen and send your checks and your money orders and whatever you have to support this wonderful broadcast. Without ado, thank you for listening to us, and may God bless you. May God bless all of us.
Oh, gosh. All right. Listen.